Yo, UFC Fight Night, Dern vs. Ribas 2 took place this past Saturday. I'm going through the entire card. I'm giving my reaction to every fight and who I think every fighter should be matched up with next. And yeah, let's get started. I got my little baldy white right here, ready to announce some fights, and yeah, let's go. First off, we have Joe Solecki. He had a terrible performance. He did take the fight on short notice, which is kind of an excuse. Nurullo Aliev dominated him, outstruck him, outgrappled him, looked way better. So I'm going with Joe Solecki versus Clay Guida. Clay Guida, great wrestler, high-paced striker, and relentless wrestler. He is a little washed now. Joe Solecki has good jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I could see Joe Solecki subbing Clay Guida. Clay Guida gets caught in subs. I could also see Clay Guida out-wrestling Joe Solecki and winning this fight with a decision, out-wrestling him. So yeah, I'll go Joe Solecki versus Clay Guida. I could see both the fighters winning this fight. It's a pretty close fight. I think I would probably lean Solecki, but it's a good fight. Yeah, I'll go Joe Solecki versus Clay Guida. Next up, we have Nurullo Aliev. Looked really, really good. It was only his second fight in the UFC. He did face Joe Solecki on short notice. It should have been 30-27 across all three scorecards. That's how I had it. So I'll go Nurullo Aliev versus Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden also fought on this card. Nurullo Aliev has Ramadan coming up. Trey Ogden got injured. They probably have a similar return timetable. I'll go Nurullo Aliev versus Trey Ogden. Good grappling match. Trey Ogden's a great grappler, a good striker. This would be a real test for Nurullo Aliev. He's undefeated right now. So yeah, I'll go Nurullo Aliev versus Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden has derailed some good fighters, some good up-and-coming prospects. I would probably actually lean Ogden. I have no clue how I would pick this fight. This is a really close fight. Good fight. Trey Ogden's kind of like a top 30-ish lightweight. He had a pretty close fight with Moises. He was outstriking Moises. But I think this is a close fight. I think this is a good grappling match. So I'll go Nurullo Aliev versus Trey Ogden. Next up, we have Victoria Dudakova. Victoria Dudakova looked terrible. She came out with a fucking Hamzat-ass game plan. She just decided to shoot relentlessly. No striking to set it up. You're not Hamzat. You're going to power slap against your coach. You slap the shit out of him in the octagon. Go do it on the main stage. Power slap. No. Realistically, I'm matching her up with Ihor Amanda. This would also be a good grappling match. Wrestler versus jiu-jitsu. I have no clue how I would pick this. Whoever loses gets cut. Ihor Amanda's 0-2 in the UFC. Victoria Dudakova is 2-2, but one of those fights was an injury, so realistically she's like 1-2. I have no clue how I would pick this. But yeah, loser probably gets cut. Winner gets another matchup, but if they lose that, they probably get cut too. So yeah, Victoria Dudakova versus Ihor Amanda, close fight, good grappling match. Next up on the card, we have Fatima Kline. She looked really good against Victoria Dudakova. I expected Victoria Dudakova to strike more. I guess that's my fault. I guess you go to Clement Club and don't learn striking. I have no clue what she was doing. Just decided to be Hamzat, decided to shoot right off the start, decided to continue shooting even though she was getting out-scrambled. I'm doing Fatima Kline versus Josephine Knudsen. Fatima Kline has decent striking. Josephine Knudsen's a really good striker. Fatima Kline's a great grappler. Josephine Knudsen just lost in the grappling severely. So let's see if Josephine Knudsen improved her grappling. Classic grappler versus striker matchup right here. Yeah, both good prospects at strawweight. I'd probably lean Kline, but that's a very 50-50 fight. All right, next up, we have Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Marcin Prachnio. Gadzhiyasulov looked really good in the first round. Other than that, he just got held against the cage. Really looked like shit in the second and third round. Had no urgency to get off the cage. He kind of Aldo maxed. This is a great striking matchup at light heavyweight. You don't get a lot of those often. It's usually just sluggers. At the very top, the closest guy to Pereira in the striking is probably Alexander Rakic, and he won't even get matched up with him because he keeps losing. So yeah, this is probably the best striking matchup besides Yuri and Hill that you can get at light heavyweight right now. I'd probably lean Gadzhiyasulov. The leg kicks in this fight would be insane. Yeah, I'd lean the up-and-coming prospect in Gadzhiyasulov. He did just take his first loss. Let's see how his mentality recovers. He'll get a striker in a matchup he can win. But I wouldn't count Prachnio out in this. Prachnio is a very good striker. He has had good wins, so yeah. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Marcin Prachnio. Next up, we have Bruno Lopes. He won against Magomed Gadzhiyasulov. Looked like shit, in my opinion. He looked absolutely terrible. He got outstruck severely in the first round. Outstruck in every other round as well. He just held Magomed Gadzhiyasulov against the cage. Almost all his takedowns got stuffed. Looked like shit, but he did win the fight against a good prospect. So let's match him up against Ivan Arslan. Ivan Arslan came into the UFC, very long background in MMA, fought in KSW, pretty good boxer, good grappler, just like Bruno Lopes. This would be a close fight. Ivan Arslan's 0-1 in the UFC, but his loss is to Ihor Potieria. I'd probably lean Arslan in this fight. I think he's the better fighter, but it's a close matchup. 1-0 in the UFC versus 0-1 in the UFC. Ivan Arslan lost to the better fighter. I think Ihor Potieria would beat Magomed Gadzhiyasulov right now. He'd probably just hold him against the cage, very similar to... Actually, fuck that. Ihor Potieria has no brain. He's the dumbest fighter I've ever seen. He would probably strike and get fucking pummeled by Magomed Gadzhiyasulov, so... But... yeah, close fight here. I would still lean Ivan Arslan. I think he's the better fighter. I think he's the more experienced fighter. Next up, we have Nicolle Caliari versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Nicolle Caliari had a very close fight with Ernesta Kareckaite. She did lose. I thought she clearly lost, but I thought it was a close fight. I don't know how that was a split decision, but I'd pick Nicolle Caliari in this matchup. Priscilla Cachoeira sucks against grapplers. She gets out-grappled every time she faces one. I think this would be kind of a layup, but I think it would be a good way to rise up a prospect. So I'll go Nicolle Caliari versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Nicolle Caliari probably takes her down and just pummels her. Next up, we have Ernesta Kareckaite versus the loser of Wong Tong versus Bruna Brazil. This is booked. It's booked soon. They're both strikers. They're both high-level strikers. I think Wong Tong would win this. So that would mean Ernesta Kareckaite versus Bruna Brazil. But who knows? Bruno Brazil could win this. Then it would be Wong Tong versus Ernesta Kareckaite. I think this would be a great striking matchup either way. I'd probably lean Wong Tong and Brazil over Kareckaite, but it would be a close matchup. It would be a fun matchup. And you don't get many of those in women's MMA. So, yeah, take it while you can get it. Ernesta Kareckaite versus Wong Tong and Bruno Brazil. Or loser of Wong Tong, Bruno Brazil, my bad. Next up, we have Preston Parsons. Got starched in like a minute. Looked like shit, but he was facing a great prospect. He has a very high pace, good wrestler, alright boxer. I'm going Preston Parsons versus Basel Hafez. This would be a very high-paced matchup. This would be a fun matchup. I could see them throwing this on a prelims of a pay-per-view. This would be a great matchup. They would be in each other's faces the whole time, both trying to take each other down, both pushing the pace, neither gas ever. Both try to crush their opponents by gassing them. This is a fun matchup. This is a very fun matchup. Very high pace matchup. Both these guys, great. Preston Parsons lost to an up-and-coming prospect, got knocked out. Basel Hafez just lost to an up-and-coming prospect, got knocked out. Jacobe Smith and Obon Elliott, respectively. This is a great matchup. I love this matchup. Book it. Next up, we have Jacobe Smith. Looked fantastic. Looked great. Like I said in my prediction video, first round knockout. I'm picking him to face Li Jingliang. Throw him against the Leech. Top 25-ish welterweight, maybe 25 to 30 range. Jacobe Smith, up-and-coming prospect. Li Jingliang turns nobody down. He faced Hamzat in his fourth fight. He faced Carlos Prates in his third fight. He faces these prospects. He's not scared of anyone. He's a great fighter. This would be a tough test for Jacobe Smith. I think it's a winnable test as well. Jacobe Smith versus Li Jingliang. Great fight. Next up, we have Trey Ogden. I already matched him up against Nurullo Aliev. I'll talk about how Trey Ogden looked. Trey Ogden actually looked pretty solid. He was beating Thiago Moises on the feet. Thiago Moises ended up out-grappling him. Trey Ogden tore his bicep in the third round. So he'll be out for a while. Nurullo Aliev has Ramadan coming up. He'll be out for a while. Match them up when they come back. Next up, we have Thiago Moises versus Drakkar Klose. Thiago Moises looked very good in the grappling. He was getting outstruck, but he ended up knocking Trey Ogden down with a leg kick. These are two guys that have been around for a while. They've faced the top of the division over and over again. I'd probably pick... This is a really tough matchup to pick. I think I'd pick Thiago Moises. Both have been around a long time. Both are ranked similarly in the division, in that 20 to 25-ish range. Both just outside the top 15. Winner of this could face like a Frivola or a Dober. And then if they beat them, or Frivola or Dober beat Thiago Moises, Drakkar Klose winner, they could fight in the rankings. All those guys are a carousel outside the top 15. I think they should all fight each other. Obviously, Frivola already fought Dober, but let's get a like Frivola, Bobby Green, something like that. Let's get it going. I'm tired of these guys just sitting outside of the top 15, killing prospects. Let the prospects fight each other. Let the vets fight each other. And then they face each other to see who fights in the rankings. Great matchmaking. Fun matchup. Thiago Moises versus Drakkar Klose. Next up, Ihor Potieria. You're getting shipped off to the PFL. You fucking suck. You got knocked out in the first round. You get knocked out pretty much every fight. You missed weight for the second time at middleweight. You're 2-7 in the UFC. You're getting shipped off to fight B-League fighters. You'll probably lose to them too. You're absolutely terrible. Johnny Eblin could probably knock you out if you go to PFL Tour. You're terrible. Go. Marco Tulio looked great against Ihor Potieria. Knocked him out in the first round, pieced him up. I'm picking him to face Marc-Andre Barriault. Marc-Andre Barriault, he's gone on a very bad skid recently. He has lost to really only guys at the top of the division. Let's see if Marco Tulio has what it takes. If he beats Andre Barriault, then you can start talking about him in the top 25 to 30-ish range of middleweight. Bottom of middleweight is a bunch of jobbers. They all suck. We have Cody Brundage, Antonio Tricoli, Dylan Budka. They all suck. I don't want him to face any of those. Marc-Andre Barriault also kind of sucks, but at least he's only lost to great fighters. So, yeah, I'm picking Marco Tulio to face Marc-Andre Barriault. This would be a good matchup. Marc-Andre Barriault has decent striking. He has decent grappling. It wouldn't be a layup by any means. And if he faces him, he's probably 2 wins away from rankings. Great fight. Next up, we have Jose the Weight Bully Johnson. He sucks. He got subbed in the first round. I picked him to beat Felipe Bunes because I didn't expect Felipe Bunes to sub him in the first round. I thought it would go to the second, maybe third. Jose Johnson would crush him under pressure, but Jose Johnson sucks. He's a weight bully, 6 feet at flyweight. He missed weight for the fight, still got subbed. I'm picking him to face Sumudarji. Both tall flyweights, both strikers. This would be a fun striking match, both on skids. Jose Johnson, if you miss weight for this, or if you lose this fight, you're getting cut. So, yeah. Sumudarji, I think, is actually really good. I think he would win this matchup and kick this weight bully out of the UFC. Next up, we have Felipe Bunes facing the loser of Andre Lima and Daniel Barras. I think Andre Lima wins this. I like the Daniel Barras versus Felipe Bunes matchup. I think I would pick Barras to win. They're both still towards the bottom mid-range of the division. I have no clue why Barras is matched up with Lima. Lima, I think, is borderlining on top 15. He's looked really good so far in his career. Yeah, I think Barras loses this, and I think he goes on to face Felipe Bunes. Next up, we have Uros Medic facing Song Kenan. Song Kenan coming off a knockout. Uros Medic also coming off a knockout. Both just lost their last fight. I have no clue why Medic is considered a prospect in the division. He's been in the UFC for a long time. Song Kenan is a veteran of the division. He's an established veteran. He's faced great fighters like Ian Gary. He's faced Kevin Jousset. This would be a close fight. Both of them coming off knockout losses, but both of them very skilled. Both of them have power. I could see this fight ending at any minute, really. I have no clue who I would pick in this fight. But yeah, this would be a great fight. Book it. Next up, we have Punahele Soriano. He still sucks. He knocked out Medic in a minute. Within a minute. In less than a minute. He still sucks. I won't believe he's good until he puts up an actual good performance against someone good. Uros Medic, it was a fluke win. He sucks. Yeah, Punahele Soriano versus the loser Carlos Leal versus Alex Morono. If he beats the loser of this fight, I will admit he's good. Actually, probably not. All he has is the left hand. He sucks. He made Dustin Stoltzfus look good on the feet. Yeah, I think he should face the loser of Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal. Whoever wins between Morono and Leal, they probably won't get a top 15 shot, but they'll get a top 20 shot. Loser should face Soriano. Next up, we have Austin Bashi versus Isaac Dalgarian. Austin Bashi, I'm in the minority when I say this. I think he actually looked good. He just looked very green. I still think he has a great skill set. Isaac Dalgarian got robbed against Christian Rodriguez. Austin Bashi just lost to Christian Rodriguez very clearly. You might be asking why I make this matchup. Both great grapplers. Both lost on paper like Jamal Hill, to Christian Rodriguez. I think winner of this fight is viewed as a very serious prospect in the division. Both small for the weight class too. Not frame-wise, but height-wise. Both great grapplers. Both super high pace. Yeah, I think Austin Bashi should face Isaac Dolgarian. Yeah. Next up, we have Christian Rodriguez, prospect killer. He's facing the loser of Morgan Charrier versus Nathaniel Wood. Let's stop feeding Christian Rodriguez prospects. Let's match him up with someone who's top 25-ish in the division. I think Nathaniel Wood and Morgan Charrier are both like a win or two away from the rankings. I think whoever loses this has a real setback. I think Christian Rodriguez facing the loser of this is great matchmaking. Obviously, I'm the best matchmaker on YouTube. That's why I made it. But yeah, this would be a great matchup. Nathaniel, he's even called the prospect. Nathaniel Wood is called the prospect, even though he's old. Nathaniel the prospect Wood. Can't get any better than that. He gets a prospect that's not a real prospect. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think this would be a fun fight. I think Nathaniel Wood and Morgan Charrier both have very respectable skills. I think Christian Rodriguez also has very respectable skills. This would be a fun fight either way. I really don't know who I'm picking between Wood and Charrier. I think Charrier is extremely overrated because he has a very big social media following. I think he's still good, but lost to Paul Hughes, lost to Jordan Vucenic, lost to, by the way, that was in Cage Warriors. That was before he even got to the UFC, but he got signed before either of those guys because that's kind of how it works when the UFC wants to break into a market, I guess. But yeah, I think Morgan Charrier is very good. I think Nathaniel Wood's very good. I think loser of this should face Christian Rodriguez. It would be a great matchup. Very close matchup. I don't know who to pick between Charrier and Wood. I don't know who to pick in the fight when this gets booked. But if it gets booked, I wouldn't know who to pick. It would be very close. I think this is great matchmaking. And yeah. Next up, we have Chris Curtis facing Mark Smith. He was ready to square up with him after the stoppage. It was a terrible stoppage, in my opinion. I don't see any way that you stop that with 1 second left and Kopylov walking away. But you do you, Mark Smith. Terrible ref. I've always thought Mark Smith's a terrible ref. He let Sean O'Malley legally murder Thomas Almeida, but he stops this fight. Doesn't make any sense. Pick and choose favorites, I guess. But realistically, I'm matching him up with the winner of Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ridder. I think Chris Curtis is still in top 20 range. Kevin Holland, he's been going in between welterweight and middleweight for a while. Chris Curtis was actually talking about a welterweight move after this, but I think he stays at middleweight. I don't see how he makes welterweight. I know he used to, but I don't see how he still makes it. Yeah, Chris Curtis versus the winner of Kevin Holland and Reinier de Ridder. I think Chris Curtis versus Kevin Holland would be a great matchup. Great striking matchup, fun striking matchup. I think Chris Curtis versus Reinier de Ridder would be a little different. Chris Curtis has fantastic takedown defense. Reinier de Ridder is pretty much a pure grappler. So we would have to see how Reinier de Ridder solves that puzzle of taking down Chris Curtis. Yeah, Chris Curtis versus the winner of Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ridder. Next up, we have Roman Kopylov. I think he should get another rank shot. He came back. He had 2 wins after he lost to Fluffy, who I think is very, very top of the division caliber. I think he's going to destroy Brendan Allen. I have Roman Kopylov facing Michel Pereira. I think Michel Pereira is ranked number 15 in the division right now. So it's very low in the rankings. Both of them gas 7 minutes into a fight, so it might look like a heavyweight fight. Either someone's getting knocked out in the first round, or both are just staring at each other for the remainder of the fight after 7 minutes. Kopylov looked all right against Curtis, in my opinion. Curtis is a very tough person to strike against. He has very good defense. Kopylov, quote unquote, knocked Curtis out. Knocked him out on paper. Mark Smith, horrible stoppage, like I said. I had Curtis up 20-18 in that fight. A lot of people had Curtis up 20-18. A lot of people had it 19-19. A lot of people had it 20-18 Kopylov. So it was a very close fight. But Kopylov started gassing about 7 minutes into the fight. Then Kopylov nutshotted Curtis. All right, Curtis walked it off. All good. Kopylov still gassed. Eye pokes Curtis. All right, a little suspicious now. Got 2 extra minutes of rest from 2 fouls, no point taken. I'm convinced Mark Smith had money on Kopylov. Kopylov regains his gas. Now we have 8 minutes left in the fight. Kopylov got back his energy. He had 3 minutes of rest due to 1 minute between rounds. Due to a minute from the eye poke and a minute from the nut shot. I think it was a little cheap. I think it was a little dirty. I think it was intentional. But nonetheless, looked decent. Give him a rank shot. He's gotten 2 wins since last fighting in the rankings. Yeah, give him Michel Pereira. Next up, we have Abdul Razak Alhassan. You have 2 wins in the last 7 years in the UFC. You're pushing 40. AARP is about to start mailing you. GFL. I don't know if you can get shipped off to the GFL in time for the draft. I don't really care. You're going to the GFL. You're fighting other old men. You suck. Goodbye. By the way, rock Cesar Almeida. Cesar Almeida also sucks. Apparently. Just found that out. Yeah, kickboxer that beat Alex Pereira gets rocked by Abdul Razak Alhassan and then brutally finishes him. Very similar to Alex Izzy. Next up, we have Cesar Almeida. You're facing Abus Magomedov. This is a fun matchup. Abus is a striker, but he can grapple. He's a good grappler. Cesar Almeida is a pure striker. Struggling the grappling against Kopylov. Let's see how he does against another Russian who's a primary striker, but also can grapple. In Abus Magomedov. Yeah, let's see how you do, Cesar Almeida. He didn't look great against Abdul Razak Alhassan. He got a KO of the year contender. Very early knockout of the year contender. But he got rocked. If I remember correctly, I believe he got dropped. Recovered. Turned the fight around within a minute and knocked out Abdul Razak Alhassan. So didn't look great, but winner of this probably fights in the top 20 range. Yeah. And then if they win that next matchup, they probably face someone in the top 15. Next up, we have Carlston Harris versus Neil Magny. Carlston Harris actually looked a lot better than I thought he would. Still got chinned, like I said. Called it. Very, very easy call. Some people are saying it was a bad stoppage. I disagree because I got my pick right. So anyways, these two fight pretty similar. Both long. Both clinch merchants at times. Both throw very long 1-2s at range. It would be a mirror matchup. I think both are kind of in the 25-ish to 30 range of welterweights, and I think this would be a boring snooze fest, but someone's got to face Magny. Someone's got to face Harris. Don't let Harris stink up some fun fighter. Don't let Magny stink up some fun fighter. Let them stink up each other. Carlston Harris versus Neil Magny. Next up, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio. Looked all right. Got in trouble at points, but ended up finishing Carlston Harris. TKO against the cage. Let's face him off with D-Rod. This was booked back in October of 2023. D-Rod popped. Santiago Ponzinibbio is, I believe, 1-1 since that was booked. I believe D-Rod is 1-1 since that was booked. But I think this is a fun matchup. I think this is a fun striking matchup. Both have weird striking styles. Both decent grapplers if they want to go to the grappling, but I don't think they're going to want to. Fan-friendly matchup. Both older. Both kind of on the decline, but still have it. Fun matchup. Good matchup. Both strikers. Both can grapple if they want to go there. Rebook it. Next up, we have Amanda Ribas versus Jillian Robertson. Amanda Ribas lost to Dern, got subbed. First time in her career, she got subbed. Obviously, the card where I say Dern hasn't subbed anyone in 4 years, and Ribas has never been subbed. There's no way Dern is subbing Ribas. Dern subs Ribas. That's just how it works. MMA makes no sense. Everything's a coin flip. Logic doesn't come into play. Yeah, give Amanda Ribas Jillian Robertson. Amanda Ribas, her last win was Luana Pinheiro. Jillian Robertson's last win was Luana Pinheiro. This would be a good grappling matchup. Let's see if Jillian Robertson can take it to the ground. She's primarily a grappler. Ribas is more well-rounded. Jillian Robertson is riding a 3-fight win streak. Ribas is riding a 2-fight loss streak. So Jillian Robertson is ranked, I believe, 12th in the division. Ribas is ranked, I believe, 8th in the division. Makes sense. All right, let's go ahead. Mackenzie Dern looked all right against Ribas. Did sub Ribas, which is very impressive. Let's do a rematch. Beauty and the Beast rematch. I want her to face Verna Jandiroba for the second time. It makes sense. Mackenzie Dern won the first matchup. Neither are fighting for the belt next because Tatiana Suarez is fighting Wei Li. I'm guessing Jandiroba wants to get that win back. She's ranked 3 spots above Dern. Ranked number 3. Dern is ranked number 6. And Grappler's Delight matchup, the scrambles would be crazy. It's already happened. It's a rematch. Dern won the first one. I'd pick Jandiroba to win the second one. But, yeah. Winner of this faces the winner of Tatiana Suarez, Zhang Weili. Yeah, and that's it. That's the video for today. Let me know what matchups you like. Let me know what you agree and disagree with. Yeah, if you think Ihor Potieria shouldn't get cut, go watch Lucas Tracy or something. I don't know what to tell you. And yeah, see you guys later. Thank you.